Welcome back to another beautiful day in the land of music. My name is Douglas, and today we are talking about my favorite B3 sound for a rock setting. So if you're curious on my favorite for a church setting, check out this video. I'll link it up here and in the description below if you're curious on that. But in today's video, I'm going to walk through if I'm playing with a band where there's a lot more electric guitar action going on, need something that's going to cut through even more than my more mellow church organ. I'm going to walk you through how I would set this up on the Nord Stage 4 for a rock B3 organ sound. So I have this as a program that I made. I did a benefit show with a band around Thanksgiving, and I built this sound for that show particularly because we had 2, 3, sometimes 4 electric guitarists playing different things at times, and I needed a rock B3 organ sound. So a different tone than I would use in church. So to walk you through how I built this on the Nord Stage 4, we've got 2 layers over here on the organ section. Now, if you have other things going on, you can just hold Shift, layer a knit, and then you can choose which panel or to initialize the entire keyboard. And what that does is just kind of resets you back. It doesn't erase anything on the keyboard. It just resets you back to some basic layers, and then you can turn the sections on or off. I'll cover more on that in a separate video where I talk more about layering and splitting and how the controls and everything work on the Nord Stage 4. But with the organ section on, we're using both layers A and B of the organ section here on the Nord Stage 4. In layer A, and what we can do to hear just what's in layer A is we have this nifty little solo button here to the right of our main screen. We can tap on that, and what that's going to do, you'll notice now, my organ layer A is blinking, which means we're only hearing and then I could switch to layer B, and it keeps solo on. And again, we could switch back and forth. So it allows me to solo a particular layer, mess with that, get that how I want it to sound, switch to the other layer, maybe do the same thing there, and then turn solo off. And really nice feature. I use that a lot when building layered sounds on the Nord Stage 4. So on layer A, what I have is a B3 organ with chorus 3 turned on. Now, just to demonstrate what this sounds like without chorus. And depending on the song, I'll turn that chorus on or off. If it's a softer rock sound, I will turn chorus off. But sometimes I want that kind of like grittiness, especially if I'm going to play an organ solo or things like that. So I will turn chorus on or off, but I have that saved into my program with it on because the majority of the songs that I was doing in that show, I had, it was a bigger band type of setup. I had some organ solos and things like that thrown in. And on those, I'll talk about that in a minute in terms of how I make the organ stand out a little bit more on an organ solo. So chorus 3 turned on. We have just a regular B3. We have the rotor speaker on, of course. And then the drawbars, you'll see the LEDs are indicating. I have them all reset back. But when you move throughout programs, the LEDs are going to indicate where that program's set at. So what I have is the 1st, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th drawbars pulled all the way down. And then I have the 2nd off and the last 3 to the right, all the way off. Now, if there's a part of a song where maybe I'm coming in on a verse or something like that, what I will do is start to bring these drawbars back. So I'll have full 1, full 3. that is layer A. And you'll notice I have a keyboard zone set here. So layer A is only where you see this green indicator here, from here up. So if I play, we switch tones. Now that second tone is the B3 bass, and that is sitting on layer B. So you'll notice layer A is blinking. That means that's the active layer. Everything here is showing for layer A. If I tap on B, you'll see that that's blinking now, and it's showing me my settings for layer B. And in this case, I have just the first two drawbars pulled down on the B3 bass setting, and you'll notice my split is from this split point down. So, and if I solo this, I can demonstrate that split point a little better. And then it stops here, layer A, and nothing below that. So when this is combined, my B3 bass is down here, my regular organ. So that is my rock setting. Panels A and B, using those together, they are layered. And so to layer, you can turn both on by tapping both buttons at the same time. So you'll notice both these layers are on, which means they're layered together. So I do have that B3 bass down here and the regular B3 up here. I don't have anything special turned on for effects, a little bit of spring reverb going on there, but nothing crazy in terms of the effects on this. I was playing on a stage and there was a whole front of house setup, so I didn't have to worry too much about that. They took care of any sort of effects they needed. And on organ, I don't generally put much for effects, if anything, because it's really doesn't really need it, in my opinion. So I know a bit of this is personal preference on sound, but it's also, through my experience of playing live and playing with bands, is, this is what I like to use for more of a rock B3 sound. Now let's talk about soloing here a little bit, because sometimes what I'll do, and it depends on the use case here, but if I have to come in with a solo, there's a couple things. One, sometimes I'll just bring my volume up a couple clicks. And I work with my front of house guy so that he knows, hey, when I'm getting to a solo part, he's not gonna bring me up for that solo part. I'm gonna take care of bringing myself up a few clicks. Sometimes your sound guy will he'll have a list of the songs and who's doing what, and he may take care of whoever's soloing, whether it's an electric guitar or the organ, and he'll bring that into the mix how he sees it fit best. And in my case, I know my sound guy really well, and he trusts that, I'm gonna turn it up an appropriate amount. Another thing that I'll do where I won't touch the master volume at all is I'll take this drive and what that does is it does bring it in a little bit more, makes it a little louder and gives it some drive. So again, depending on the song and the use case, I'll use that drive to up the volume and give it more punch. But sometimes I'm doing a solo and I don't want drive on the organ sound. In that case, I'll work with the sound guy and I'll either turn it up or he'll know to turn it up at that part. So those are kind of my, again, my preference and how I do things. I do like to have the sustain pedal turned on for the organ. I'm not a trained organ player. I just kind of, what I've learned is what I know. And so one thing that I like to do is hold shift and tap on the A panel button here, which turns the sustain pedal. In my case, I just turned it off, but on. The light lit up means it's on. And what that allows me to do is, as I'm playing, is to sustain those organ notes and then come in here, change my Leslie, change some drawbars. It's just something that I like to do there. So that's my B3 rock organ setup and how I like to do it on the Nord Stage 4. I hope this was helpful for you if you play live and you're curious on, what kind of organ setting should I use on the Nord Stage 4. There's my setup. Feel free to take that with a grain of salt, whatever you want to do, tweak it, change it. But if you have any questions with that in particular, or the Nord Stage 4 in general, throw those down in the comments below. I have a lot of videos planned for this year on the Nord Stage 4. So it is my all-time favorite board, and I'm going to be spending a lot of time with it this year. So if you're down to come along for the ride, feel free to hit that subscribe and the little bell so you see when new videos pop up. Thanks for watching, stay inspired, and keep making that music.